I love the Mission Impossible movies. Like, love them to the point where if Tom Cruise knocked on my door and asked me to sprint across the highway with him, I'd be tying my shoes right now. So how was the first hour of the final film in the franchise so unbelievably boring that me and my friends decided to turn it off and go our separate ways, eager to find a more entertaining avenue, like watching the back of our eyelids sleep. I'm talking about sleep. I'm saying sleep is more entertaining than this movie. I'm serious. The first half of this movie burned through so much goodwill that I had no intention of finishing it. I wanted to let it rot in my continue watching list forever. But then I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was stewing, marinating, slow cooking in disappointment. So I decided to make this video, and unfortunately that meant I had to finish this 2-hour and 49-minute cinematic sleep aid. And now I'm gonna talk about it. Some quick background about me. I was homeschooled, I love SpongeBob, I don't like carrots. Oh right, relevant background. I think Mission Impossible is the only blockbuster franchise where each movie is better than the last. Well, except the second one. But at least Mission Impossible 2 is fun bad. The kind of bad with multiple Scooby-Doo mask reveals and dueling motorcycles. Then we climb the ranks until we peak at Fallout, which is just one of the greatest action movies of all time, period. Then Dead Reckoning Part 1 dipped a little, sure, but it was still a great movie. And I had high hopes for the conclusion. But then we didn't get Part 2. We got The Final Reckoning, leaving this title to make no sense for the rest of recorded history. So let's see how this final Mission Impossible ranks. The movie opens with Ethan getting his mission briefing, a fun tradition for this franchise. I'm not complaining about the exposition in this scene because it's Mission Impossible. The mission briefing is sacred. I am complaining about the format, a VHS tape. A VHS tape. I know the franchise loves giving him outdated tech for these messages. Payphone, vinyl record, a freaking GameCube cartridge, whatever. But a VHS? I used these growing up. Why are you aging me like this? Next mission, he's gonna get his briefing on a DVD. Gonna be handing out messages on the frickin' red box. Anyway, Ethan needs to find Gabriel. So to do that, he has to break Mantis out of prison. This is a fun scene with a mask reveal, tension, classic Mission Impossible stuff. Great start. And then suddenly we're in an embassy. Why? Who knows? Grace is here. Why? Who knows? Gabriel is here to deliver exposition. Why? Because this movie is legally required to hit a quota of 500 exposition lines in the first hour. And boy does he deliver. He also retroactively ties this movie to Mission Impossible 3 by saying that the rabbit's foot MacGuffin from that movie was actually the source code for the evil AI in this movie. As a huge fan of this franchise, my reaction was, oh, wow, why should I care? We do get a cool escape scene. Ethan traumatizes Grace by absolutely mutilating a guy with a meat cleaver right in front of her. And then boom, opening credits. So far, so good. Then they chase Gabriel to some random pod that lets you FaceTime with the evil AI. No idea how it got there. Ethan steps in and the AI immediately starts reading his mind. And then the talking starts. Long, boring, endless. The AI name drops Final Reckoning.
Their final reckoning.
What, we some kind of suicide squad?
Ethan steps out of the pod looking like me when my wife pulls me out of a 3-hour gaming session with the boys.
You're real. You're real.
Luther dies in a scene that goes on for way too long, for a death that hit me about as hard as a damp napkin. Look, I get it. He's a legacy character. He's been there since the first movie. But the scene was boring with the capital B. I was checking my pulse. Next, Ethan gets captured by the government and taken to a meeting room where he's introduced to this guy, who happens to be the son of this guy from the first movie. They really wanted me to clap at this. I did not clap. Then we cut to another government facility with another round of exposition. I just love these kinds of scenes. Aren't they so fun? I don't wish I was in a coma at all. This is also where I realized something. The dialogue in this movie can sometimes be really weird. Characters talk in perfect turn-based order, like they're passing around the talking pillow at an intervention. It's like one long sentence where each person picks up where the other person left off, like they're some kind of alien hive mind.
The annihilation of cyberspace.
The consequences of which are catastrophic.
Why the hell would I do what you suggest?
We're guessing it went down somewhere in the Arctic.
A search area of roughly 5.5 million square miles.
Meaning the most likely SOSA station to pick it up is...
This one, in the Bering Sea.
St. Matthew Island.
It's really off-putting, and I don't like it. So to cut the yapping short, Ethan's team needs to get him the coordinates to a sunken sub, which apparently involves them going to some cabin in the Arctic. Huh? Look at that! It's the guy from the first movie who was in this infamous CIA break-in scene. Aren't these callbacks so fun? I get that this is supposedly the last movie, so I understand all these fan service callback moments, celebrating the history of these movies. I don't mind that, just make it compelling. Just look at Avengers Endgame. A big chunk of that movie is characters literally revisiting previous movies in the franchise, and it's wildly entertaining. Meanwhile, Ethan jumps in water and gets tased, and then ends up on a sub. Not the sunken sub, a working sub. All right, this transition did not need to go this hard, but go off, transition guy. Okay, I don't like this butch lady. I don't think I need to explain why. Whoa, wait a second. Are they flirting? Mr. Milchek is here, breathing some life into this movie.
Oh, you've come to the right man.
Ethan gets into a fight in his underwear. Cabin people get into a fight with Russians. These are cool scenes, which I enjoyed. Of course, the butch lady saves Ethan. Stop flirting. Legacy character sends the coordinates while his house burns around him. Thanks, King. Finally, we get a scene that tricked me into thinking the rest of this movie would be good. The sunken sub sequence is incredible. Legitimately one of the most impressive set pieces in the entire franchise. The rotating, the lighting, the tension, the I need to remove my diving suit and pray moment. Beautiful. Perfect. After getting pulled further into the depths, removing his oxygen mask, and then ascending without taking decompression stops, Ethan should have been dead. But hey, hyperbaric chamber cuddle time fixes everything. At this point, me and my friends checked the time and realized there was still an hour left of this movie. We all groaned in unison. And that was the moment we gave up. Yes, the subsequence was good, but because of how boring the rest of the movie was, it had already felt like 2 hours had gone by. I was mortified. I was the one who had suggested this movie, and it turned out to be a vibe killer. So now I've watched the second half of the movie. The question is, do they save it? No. With one exception. After more exposition, more turn-based dialogue, we get the plane fight. This scene is amazing. Ethan chases Gabriel, who at this point has turned into a Looney Tunes character.
Catch me if you can, Ethan!
Up until this point, he was very dry and serious. I don't know why he had the character change. Hey, but I liked it. Gabriel escapes in a tiny plane. Ethan ends up latching on to a second tiny plane. There's an old pilot flying it, and Ethan just punches him out of existence. Did I miss something? Who was this man? Was he evil? Was he innocent? The mid-air chase begins, and this is where Tom Cruise earns his paycheck for his stunt work. Being spun around, hanging on for dear life, fighting the whole time. It all felt terrifyingly real. It ends with Gabriel accidentally yeeting his head into the back of the plane, dying instantly. I laughed out loud at this part, so good. Meanwhile, the B team defuses a bomb in a situation eerily similar to the finale of Fallout. Like, suspiciously similar. Ethan fights a villain in midair and activates a device before the B team can cut the final wire, leading to a last-second mission success. Hey, I guess if it works, it works. One other thing I enjoyed were the scenes of Benji helping Grace defuse the bomb. He had got shot earlier, his lungs were filling up with blood, and he was on the verge of passing out the whole time. I was stressed because I love Benji. Sorry, Luther. But luckily, my beautiful British baby boy survives. And to Luther's credit, he does leave Ethan a message post-mortem that is infinitely more emotionally impactful than his actual death was. So they save the world. Ethan disappears into a crowd. Roll credits. As the supposedly final chapter, it's kind of a strange ending. He doesn't die. He doesn't retire. He doesn't settle down with Grace or Butch Lady. Thank you. He just continues to do spy stuff, I guess, like nothing ever happened. Kind of a shame that after all these movies, Ethan just ends up where he started. Look, this movie isn't an abomination. It has moments of pure brilliance, but the crime it commits most often, the unforgivable cinematic sin, is being boring. A painfully anticlimactic end to one of the greatest franchises of all time, and an embarrassing movie to force your friends to watch. Yeah, I'm pretty depressed.